Hello my lovely stitchy friends, how are you all? It's lovely to see you. This is Flosstube number 36 and it's Friday the 21st of June. My name is Sally and I'm also known on Instagram and here on YouTube as Flossie Sews and Grows. Thank you for joining me. If you're new, if you're a new subscriber or if you're a regular visitor, it's really good to have you here and I really hope you enjoy what I've got to talk about. It's predominantly cross stitch, but occasionally I just throw in a few other crafty bits that I might do, and also now and then talk about my allotment. Not there's an awful lot going on there since in the last 2 weeks. So it has been 2 weeks since I last checked in with you. I've been so busy, absolutely run off my feet. So I've not managed to do a huge amount of stitching, but I will show you what I've done. I'm going to talk to you about my plans for July, what I'm stitching next month, and also talk to you a little bit about how I've been kitting up my 50 new starts. So many of you will know, if you come and tune in regularly, that I'm doing 50 new starts this year to celebrate turning 50, and I'm doing this along with my friend Sarah, who is at Sew Me Sarah, and we're doing hashtag Fun for 50 SAL 2024. So yeah, so I have been, it's been a journey in kitting up and changing things and everything. So I'll talk to you a little bit about that later, on how I've managed it, what I've learned, what I've been doing. And I think there's probably some really good tips for any new cross stitchers out there. Some really good little tools that I use that you might find really helpful as well. So what's been going on? So first of all, I have had a finish. So last time I spoke to you, I think I had just started this, or I was just about to start it, and it is the Floral Hen, and it's from Nathnolu on Etsy, and it's the Floral Hen. And I saw this on the Flosstube of Marion and Fanny, who were the Soul Stitchers. They completely labelled me. I had to switch off, I had to press pause, and I had to go straight to Etsy and I had to buy it because I just thought it was so beautiful. So I was enabled by Marion and Fanny, and they'd been enabled by Amber, who is the rogue mama stitcher. So they're all stitching it at the moment. I'm not sure if anyone else has finished it, but I was determined to get this finished quite quickly. There's a little tribute to one of our chickens, Ginny, who we lost a couple of weeks ago, and then just thank you everybody. I've had some lovely messages, just talking about Ginny, and just, you know, saying sorry to me for my loss, and just thank you so much. That meant so much to me, everybody who commented, and yeah, she was just a chicken, but she was loved. She was loved. They do become pet. Well, they are pet. She was a pet. So this was a little tribute to Ginny. So yeah, really pleased with that one. Not sure how I'll finish it. I'll just throw it across and it'll go on the finishing stool, or the stool of the stool which has the pile of doom on it. So yes, I think I'm definitely, is it a process stitcher that I really love stitching, and I find it harder to fully finish my projects. But I think, I can't remember who I was listening to who said, you know, they don't just stitch and not finish it. They have to finish it, and they have to stitch something that because it has to go up on their wall. And I very much, there's so much I love. Yeah, I love looking at mirabilias. I think they're beautiful. And I'd love to stitch one, but I don't think I would put one up on my wall. It's not quite my style. It's not quite the style of my house. However, so everything that I do stitch, I have planned that it will go on the wall, or it'll go in a dough ball pizza. I'm thinking about it. I'm hungry. It'll go in a display bowl. So I always do have it in mind that it will get finished, just obviously. I think my aim for next year, obviously, because this year's all about new starts, I think next year will be about whip go, getting whips done, and also about finishing. So I think fully finishing will have to be a challenge for next year as well. So that's my only finish. I haven't had any starts. since I last saw you. So I think I was really determined to get the floral home finished. I had planned to start the Summer Bouquet by Yasmin's Made with Love this week, and it has just been hectic. I have been so busy because I've actually been helping plan and then run my daughter's dance school annual show. So just the run up to it in organising. So I've had to organise the adults backstage and make sure everybody has a license, make sure it's all legal. And then on the nights, I've been actually, I've planned where everybody's going, who's helping, and the logistics of that. And then on the night, I actually run the backstage in that I'm getting all the chaperones to get the children lined up for the next dance and running, who should be wearing at what time. So I think yesterday was the first day in probably a couple of months that I didn't actually stitch. So a non-stitchy day, which is very unusual for me. I was working during the day and obviously my evening was taken up. So yeah, I didn't stitch. So I'm itching actually to start. Now I've finished Floral Hen. I feel I can, which actually was a week ago I finished Floral Hen. I do feel I can now start on Summer Bouquet. So that's ready for me to go. So whips. So what have I been working on? So I have continued with trying to keep up with the Love Poppet Stitch Along, and this is where we have got to. So part 3 has been released. It's these beautiful big flowers, white flowers here, and we've got flowers going up here. So I have made a start with part 3. And I was kindly gifted this kit by Claire at Love Poppet, and it's stitched on 32 count. It's an even weave fabric. It's a light cream colour, and the kit came with all the beautiful summery colours. So really enjoying this, and I will probably try and I'm trying to flip these around here to get them out of the way. You can't see what I'm doing, can you? That looked a bit odd. I will try and get this part 3 finished in the next week, because the 4th part will be coming out next Thursday. So I've got just under a week, but that's, I've made some quite good progress on that white. And as you can see, I am stitching this 1/2. It is charted or suggested that you stitch it 2/2, but I do like just using one strand. But I'm really pleased with how the coverage is looking, and I think maybe on camera the white doesn't stand out as much, but actually looking at it in real life, it's great. It's absolutely fine. And actually Claire from Love Poppet has started a floss tube, so she's done about 3 episodes. She hasn't really advertised it very much, but I did get a message off her. She just watched one of my floss tubes and she said, I was just wondering how you put a photograph in your floss tube. So I gave her an idea. I told her who I use for my editing and how I do it, and she messaged back and went, brilliant, I love it. And the next thing she'd released her next one and had managed to get some photos in. So it's a really lovely floss tube actually. So Claire's actually showing her own work and what she's stitching on that, so it's really lovely, and so I would well recommend you go and find Claire. So that's at Love Poppet, that's on Instagram, and obviously that's her floss tube channel as well. So keeping up with that one and enjoying. Next up, sorry, I've got a hair. My hair, when I wash it, just goes everywhere. It's in my coffee, it's in my mouth, it's on my stitching, and I'm sorry, I'm just going to have a quick sip of coffee. There we go. So the next whip I have worked on, trying to keep up with this. I did manage to get a few stitches in before I started work on Wednesday morning. That hair's still there and it's really annoying. This is Barbara Anna Garden of Dreams, and I'm stitching this along with my friend at Stitchy Sally on YouTube and on Instagram, and we stitched this on a Wednesday night with the hashtag Barbara Anna Wednesdays, and I'm stitching this on a 32 count. I think I've got, Did I take a photo? If I've got a photo of where I was last time, I will have popped it up by now, but I can't quite remember if I did or not, because I don't think I have actually done very much. But I'm stitching this on a 32 count even weave, which is a fabric by Crafty Kate. Mainly so that I don't have to, and it's a lovely green, mainly so I don't have to stitch the green background of the girl there. But I may just, because that's a kind of mountain, I may just do a little bit of a back stitch. I'll decide on that at some point. So I'm using all the called for DMCs with this. I don't think I had to make any substitutes. No, I think I had all the colours. I think Barbara Anna does tend to use similar colours. So I think once you've done one or two, you know, if you're doing a kind of summery themed pattern, you quite often find that once you've got the threads, you've already got a good palette of the colours that she uses, because she does like using certain colours, I think, and especially the skin tones tend to be similar colours. So yeah, so I'm really enjoying this one. Yeah, just trying to think. I think I've done some of these. I think I've finished filling in some of these leaves and doing this since you last saw it, but a few bits. But yeah, so that's Garden of Dreams, which is in my lovely Eat, Sleep, Stitch, Repeat bag that was made by Nicola from Bumble Stitches. And then one more whip that I've worked on. I'm afraid this one's not ironed because it's such a big piece of fabric. And this is the Rainbow Quaker from the Vivsters. I'm doing it with the beautiful CXC threads, just a wonderful rainbow of colours. And I definitely have done some stitching here. I wanted to get a different colour in. I just wanted some variety. Can't remember if that's one that I've done as well. So I've not done a huge amount on that one, but just a little bit. And this is going to be quite a long-term one, I think. I think it will take a while. So there we go. So as you can see, not done a massive amount. But that sometimes happens, doesn't it? So on the Rainbow Quaker, it's from the Vivsters, and it's on a 36 count white Zweigart fabric with the CXC threads that I'm using, and I'm stitching that as part of the hashtag Stitch the Rainbow SAL with at Needle and Thread Amanda, Tan, who is the monogamous stitcher, who has finished it and it looks amazing. So go and have a look at her Instagram to see it, and she does show it on her latest Flosstube as well. And then Amy at So Make Create. They're running the SAL, and I'm just stitching along as part of it. So yeah, so that's my stitching. So I'm hoping today, day off from work, I do feel I am quite exhausted. I am quite exhausted after the show. Running up and down stairs to dressing rooms, running in and out of the backstage. There was a marquee with the children some of the older children out of the back. Just being on my feet for 3 nights for 4 or 5 hours. I'm exhausted. So today my mum's offered to take me for lunch, which will be lovely, and really good catch up with her. Because she's been away, so I haven't seen an awful lot of her. And then I'm hoping this afternoon I can just sit and stitch quietly. I do have choir tonight, so I will go to choir, and but yeah, I'm hoping in between I can get a little bit of downtime to get a few stitches in, which would be lovely. So but July is fast approaching. I do have another new start to do in June. I'm stitching The Light by Barbara Anna, and that is one of the stitches that Sarah and I are doing together. I think we're starting that on the 20th. Yes, we're starting that on the 26th. That's next week, isn't it? Yes. So I'll show you actually when I'm talking to you about kitting up. I will just show you that one, and my thoughts and how I've been kitting that one up. So we will have a look at that one. But my So that's for the end of June. So my plans for July, I think I might have mentioned this on my last floss tube, but Michelle from Mama Loves You GB is decided to stitch strawberries in the first 2 weeks of July because it is Wimbledon. And obviously in the UK here, it's very traditional that we eat lots of strawberries. It's strawberry season in July. And part of, when you go to Wimbledon, having some strawberries is the done thing. So I have decided to join in with this one, and I'm just furiously here trying to find the strawberry that I am planning to stitch. So 1st of July until the 14th of July, it's going to be hashtag stitch strawberries for Wimbledon. And Michelle, I think, is stitching this one. This is First Winds of Autumn. So it's quite a big strawberry. And this is out of the Winds of Autumn book, Blackbird Designs book, which I absolutely love. I've already stitched Mighty Oak out of this, and there's quite a few other things that you will see probably coming up in the autumn that I have for my 50 new starts that I'll stitch out of this book. And this was one that I'd actually planned to stitch in October, but because Michelle was doing the Strawberry SAL, I thought, oh, I'm going to move it to July so that I can join in with that. So yes, this is quite a big one. It is 174 by 118. So I'm sure I won't get that. I will get it started, but I'm not sure that I'll get it finished in that 2 week period. So that's and so I will start that one on the 1st of July. And then I did have another bigger project that I planned to start in July, but actually I've just thought, I'm not feeling overwhelmed, but I'm feeling that I'm getting to the point where I don't really want to start something new unless I finish something. So I think that has me at about kind of where I like to be. I'm on about 15, 16 whips. I think that's probably my happy spot, and feeling, there are things that I've started. There are a couple of things now, like Blooming Tiny Town. I've stitched one little house and then I've left it, and I really want to have time to go back and do things like that. So I had picked a bigger project to do, and actually I've decided to move that one off my list. Whether I have removed it completely or not, or whether I'll do it the following month, I'm not sure yet, but I thought I would put in another strawberry instead. And it's quite difficult to show you these strawberries without showing you the pattern, but there's quite a few strawberries in the do you remember Ros Clark, to celebrate me being 50 this year, bought me In Friendship's Way by Blackbird Designs, and she bought it for Sarah too. And we've already stitched Mildred Strawberry, but there's a few others in here, like Leona Strawberry is really pretty. And I did think, I like Barb Strawberry as well. And JJ Strawberry is quite nice. It's got the little birds on it. So there's quite a few strawberries in here. So I thought, rather than doing the bigger project that I'd had planned, I'm going to do another strawberry, and I'm planning to start this one on the 7th of July, and that is the birthday of Caroline at Evertotes, and she's 50 this year too, so she's also a 1974 baby. So I thought I would stitch that in her honour, and it's quite a small little one that I should be able to get stitched quite quickly. And I think probably because I'm stitching it in her honour, I might have to do it in Roxy Floss Co. as well. So yes, so as you can see, that one has been a decision this morning just before I started filming, and we'll need a little bit of planning, but it's only a small one, so that should be relatively easy. So that's my 7th of July start. And then these next two are PDFs, so I'm also going to start. I have never stitched a Hands Across the Sea chart, and I've shown this in my haul. Excuse me. So it must be a year ago that I bought this pattern. I don't know if it has on the PDF, if it's got the date of when I downloaded it. Sometimes companies do that, don't they? No, it hasn't. But I'm going to stitch Jane Marshall 1857, which is a Hands Across the Sea samplers one. And this one has got a bit of history. I think it's an Australian sampler, and I just loved it for the pattern, the flowers, the yeah, really like the bands going across. So I've got a bit of fox and rabbit fabric already in here, ready to go on that one. So that will be a start. I'm going to start that one, I think, on the 14th of July, once the strawberry one has finished. The other plan that I've got, so that's 3, isn't it? So the other final start for July is one that I'm going to stitch with Sarah. So we always pick one together each month that we're going to stitch together, and this month it is going to be Christmas Ride by Barbara Anna. Now, Christmas Ride, for those of you who subscribe to Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine, is in the 2020 Christmas issue. So I will have put a little screenshot up for you to see that. It's not a massive one, so I'm hoping again that can be one that I can get some work in and get some stitching in and get close to a finish. That would be really nice to have that one done for Christmas, actually, whether it's done as a Christmas present or whether it's for home, we'll see. But it's a really nice one, so looking forward to that one as well. And what else? So I have got a stitch for Mum, stitch by Mum, this time round. So I do always try and show you something that my mum has stitched. You know, mum has been a huge inspiration to me over the years. Very talented needle worker with cross stitch, but she also has done other things as well. And this is something that she made me. She made this book, and so she stitched this on silk. So this was made for when I got married in 2007, and it's a book for people to write in you know, messages to my husband and I, and you know, it's got our initials. So his name started with an S, so we were both S, and then his surname and my subsequent surname were an R, so we've got SR on the back as well, which is beautifully stitched with some gold work around it and some beads. And then this is just these little blackberries and raspberries are just so beautiful, so beautiful. And I think Mum's idea was that our wedding guests would write in it, and then when we had a baby, we would have our baby christened and our christening guests would write in it, and you know, it would be a bit of a record of our kind of marriage and life together. Unfortunately, we are no longer together, but we do have a beautiful daughter that yeah, and I think, you know, I talk about her quite frequently. Absolutely adore her. And so there are a few things from our marriage that I still have. You know, I still have my wedding rings and engagement rings and wedding photos, and this book that she will have. You know, this will be part of her kind of, I guess, a memory box for her when she's older, of, you know, that there was love. We did love each other when we got married, and we were very happy, and obviously very happy in her arrival. But you know, sometimes things just don't work out. But you know, this is quite precious to me, because actually when I thought, shall I show it today, and what does it mean to me, that, you know, there are a few people in here that friends, more so friends of my mum's, and a few family members as well that we've lost over the years. So you know, it was 2007 that I got married, so you know, what's that, 17 years ago. Yeah, not far off 20 years. So you know, there's a few people in here that were, you know, my great auntie, I think has signed the first page, and you know, unfortunately she died kind of 10 years ago. So you know, there's a few people in here that it's nice to have, that they've written in here, and they can be remembered in that way, and that when Felicity is older, you know, I can show it to her and talk to her about them. And yeah, so it's a really, really good memory, and just beautiful stitching from Mum. Yeah. Stitching by Mum. Haul. Well, haul. Now, I don't need any haul. I don't need anything new. However, yes, I think so when I went to the Wrexham retreat, I took a few things for the freebie table and a few things for the de-stash table. Thought I need to start having a little bit of a clear out in here. It's quite a big lot of stuff in here for quite a small amount of space. So I put some stuff on the freebie table, put some stuff on the de-stash table, and I think because I was late to the party and that I came on the Sunday and everyone else had arrived on the Saturday, as I was getting my stuff out of my bag, the ladies who were on my table were like, "Oh, you've got some de-stash," and I don't think I even got it to the table, and half of them had said, "Oh, I'd like that, I'd like that, I'd like that." So yeah, so I'd sold a few things, had a few pennies, and I thought, well, you know, I could have a couple of new things. And I also thought it was wonderful because we do have a new online shop in the UK called Talking Dog Stitchery. And this is Rachel who has opened it, and she opened it on Friday, so it's been open a week now. And I thought, yeah, I would like to support Rachel and her business, and she does actually have some really lovely things that I would like to buy. so I did. So first of all, I got Away We Ride by Blackbird Designs. Now, I've had my eye on this for quite a while, and I thought, right, great time to get it. So again, yeah, these will probably be 2025 stitches now. Don't think I can fit them in into 2024. This is one that I knew Sarah has got, Sony Sarah has got, and I really loved that. I love the fabric that it's on, and I'm sure I have got one in a similar colour in my stash from Kate, from one of Kate's fabrics by Crafty Kate's fabric of the month. There'll be one in there that will look beautiful on, I know. So I really like that one. And then this one I thought was just gorgeous. Now this is a designer who I've never heard of, so it's Filigram. So the designer is Marielle Zhang Pajul. So I'm not sure. This is from her mountain collection. I'm not sure if she's French, but it looks quite French to me. And this is a stoat in Alpine grasslands, and I just thought that was so gorgeous. And it is very alpine. I grew up, my dad was a climber and my mum is a walker. She's just got back from walking St Cuthbert's Way at 77. She's just absolutely amazing. And she did do a big walk in the Alps last year. And I just looked at this and I just thought, that reminds me of, and I've spent many holidays in the Alps with my parents. My dad was climbing and I walked with my mum. And it's not necessarily the stoat, it's the mountain and the flowers and the pattern on the outside. I just thought it was absolutely gorgeous, and that was one that I decided I really wanted to stitch for my mum, and I couldn't resist getting it. And I haven't seen that one before, so it's great that Rachel has got some designers on her website that I haven't seen being sold in the UK before. So well done, Rachel. And then finally, I have seen this one a couple of times and thought, oh, I do like that. I do like that. And it's Jars en Privé, and it's Patchwork de la Plan. So it's a beach patchwork. And I have got a kind of seaside-y, beachy themed bathroom, and I thought that would look lovely in there. And the wonderful thing Rachel has started selling is cottage garden threads. So I went for this one, which is called Sea Change. And it's perhaps a little bit more, I think maybe the border on this is a bit more blue than green, but I think I will try and change, if I need to change all of the colours, I will, but I probably won't need to. But I want to use this for, definitely for the border and maybe the sea, and we'll just see how we get on with the other colours. Whether it's, you know, maybe I'll keep the sea blue actually, but yeah, I think the green around the outside, just loved that. So that was absolutely fantastic. So even though I've not really stitched much, it was just lovely to have a little bit of stitchy haul just to lift my spirits that I've been working really, really hard these last couple of weeks. So yes, so I just wanted to then now talk to you a little bit about kitting up. And how I've been managing it. I'm just going to have another sip of this coffee. I should have drunk it when it was hot before I started filming, really, because I don't really like listening to other people drinking on camera, and now I'm subjecting you to it, so I'm very sorry. So yes, kitting up. I think part of my thinking behind wanting to do 50 new starts was being uber impressed with Jen Lee from Quirks and Stitches on Instagram and on Flosstube. When I think it was in 2022, she was turning 40 and she did 222 new starts. I think that was a pretty tall order, and you know, an absolutely massive undertaking, and I was so impressed with it. And the one thing that I really liked that Jen did was, she kitted everything up before she started, and so amazingly organised. But she did have her mum helping her, so her mum helped her. And there were photos. I can remember photographs of chairs with, piles. Every single project was in a project bag. Every single project had a little label that said what it was, whether it was what size it was, and it gave a list of all the threads, and they were all ticked off. And it was a small, medium, or large, and a start date, and it was just so amazingly organised. And I think it probably took them as long to kit that all up and to make the project bags. I think Jen's mum made a huge number of her project bags, and I was so impressed with that, and I would really have liked that for my 50 new starts for 50. However, I think Sarah and I last October, November did a list of 50, and on the whole I'd probably say 80% has stayed. But there's been another 20% where something else has come along. For example, Roz buying this book. This hadn't been planned into it. So, and I've now done 2 stitches out of here that I've included in my 50. The button box for Roz and a strawberry already. So, actually to have the flexibility to say, actually, I'm not going to stitch that, I'm going to stitch something else instead, has been perfect, because I think otherwise I don't think I'd have wanted to give up, but I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much. So, Sarah and I were very much, we weren't going to tell you in advance the 50 that we were going to stitch, because we both knew that we might change our minds on things, and we both have. And what we have tried to do is pick one that we both want to stitch, that we both have each month, so that we can tell you about that in a bit more, with a bit more notice, so you can join us if you want to. And I think those are pretty much, we have changed it once or twice, but from what we'd originally planned. But on the whole, it's worked really well. So really, how did I do it? Well, I have these are my patterns. This is my pattern box. Oh, that's my pattern box. So I've got this massive box of patterns, and so really the first thing that I did was I wrote my top 50, and then kind of below my top 50 were the ones that I'd have liked on my top 50, but and that's kind of moved around. And I've still got a couple. So like these 2, for example, are kind of September and October starts, and I've got a couple of the threads in there. I've got another one in a bag here. What's that one? Oh, that's one that I've been gifted. So all everything's in here, and kind of each month I'm kind of looking at what's coming up, and do I still want to stitch it? Has something new come along? And I'm slowly, I will occasionally have a day where I'll think, right, what's coming up in the next 2 months? Have I got fabric for it? What flosses do I need? try to start getting kind of organized. So kind of once they've come out of this box, I have a kind of little area over there of kind of bags like this that are kind of stacked up. So these are, at the moment, these are some of my projects that haven't yet got project bags, because at the moment all my whips are in project bags, and I've got 15 project bags. So everything's in a project bag, and I have got 1 or 2 actually in these bags, and these are just kind of cheap bags from Amazon that just keep everything together. So I think I was talking to you about the light, which is in there, so I'll show you that one in a minute. So really kind of when I first started, I was starting to pull things out and starting to look for fabric, and then starting to think about thread. And I thought, well, how am I going to manage this? And kind of initially I was writing it down in a little book, you know, and I was kind of, what threads did I need, and I was ticking them off, and you know, where if it was in something else, I was writing down that it was in another pattern, you know, just everything that I needed for each one. But it got to the point where I found that this was really quite a little bit cumbersome, and I was going back and forth a little bit, and you know, I was then writing things in here that I've not started, so I've kind of wasted time on that and kind of pushed it to thinking I'm going to do that another time, maybe next year. So kind of this little book got a little bit more out of date, and kind of found it starting to be a bit more cumbersome. And that kind of initial kitting up. So my first kind of couple of projects, I was using, you know, I was getting the colour off my back wall here of threads, and these threads, so how I do these. So for example, let's take this off. These are all, so my DMCs are all on thread drops like these, and these are the 700s. And I've just moved from having the smaller rings to buying some quite big rings so that I can get them on. And actually I have now got these in order as well. So it's easy for me to flip through and see. So there we go, you know, 712, 718. So it's easy for me to flip through and find the colour of what I want. And so initially I was saying, right, I need 712. So I was taking 712 off here and I was putting it in with the project. But that was starting to get increasingly harder. Let's put that back. Because I would suddenly find that I needed 712 in something else, and I'd need 712 in a third project. So I was thinking, well, what do I start doing? And I realised I've been given, or I've bought, I mean, mainly gifted, a wonderful array of floss drops. These are Charlie Feather floss drops, actually, that I think Charlie gave me last time I saw her. And at, you know, at retreats, people tend to get them. I think Hazel, my friend Hazel, has made me a few with, she likes making Christmas ones because she'll collect people's Christmas cards. They'll give them to her and she'll make them with those. So I decided, really, I needed to start using these floss drops. So what I then have started doing is, for each project, I'll find my colour, and I'll take a few strands of each colour and pop it on a separate floss drop. And that way I have always got my colours here that I know I've got, and I've always got a couple. And if I run out on here, 9 times out of 10 I'm sitting here stitching anyway, so I can just go and grab another thread. And I'll kind of look if, you know, here I've got a couple more of 1 of 2 colours, because I've looked on the chart as I've been kitting it up and thought, yeah, that needs a bit more thread, or oh, that's only got 2 or 3 stitches, so I only really need 1 strand. And that is starting to work really, really well for me. So as you can see, I've got here, this is Barbara Anna Frieda, and this is from, this is Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher chart. So actually what I'll do, this is my chart behind, I'll either print out what colours I need, and I'll write down how much fabric I need. I'll put here, you know, what I've said here, what Roxy Floss Co could I add to it? Have I got the fabric? Yes. Have I got complete threads? Yes. So, you know, I like to work from with pen and paper with paper chart. So I will normally do a working copy so that I can write on it, and I can make notes as I go, because 9 times out of 10 I'll forget. So that's so I'll then, you know, I'll have my chart if I've picked a fabric. So this is one that, you know, I picked quite a while ago, a fabric from Crafty Kate. So that goes in my envelope with my threads as well. So they've got it all ready to go in my pile for ready to start. So how though, you're going to ask me, how do I know what colours I've got? Now, I have found the most amazing little app. I can't remember who told me about this app, and it's called Thread Stash. And I'm sure so many of you stitchers out there who've been stitching for quite a long time will know about Thread Stash. But some of you who perhaps haven't been stitching for very long may not know about it. I haven't heard anybody mention it on Flosstube for quite a while. Thread Stash is a little app, and I think it cost me, it's American, I think it's a couple of dollars. It might have cost me £2 to get premium user on it, and it is just the most worthwhile thing ever. So I'm going to add some little screenshots so you can see a little bit more about it. So it offers lots of different brands of thread on there that you can go in. You can say what thread it is, so you can say DMC or Roxy Floss. There's so many different ones on there. They've just really added a huge amount, and you can go in and you can say, yes, I've got 1 skein of that, I've got 2 skeins of that, etc. And it's absolutely fantastic. You can do a shopping list, so you can make a little shopping list of what you need. So if you've got, you know, if you've got your phone with you and you end up at your local LNS or at a Joann's, or is it Joann's and Michael's that sell DMC in the States, or Hobbycraft over here, you just happen to pass one by and go, oh, actually I need a thread, but what was it? I can't remember. If it's on your shopping list, you've got it, which is so useful. So when I came back to stitching in 2021, our local garden centre had a craft area, and kind of hidden away, they sold some really good stuff actually. I've got quite a lot of good felt from them. They sold sewing machine threads and bits and bobs, but they also sold DMC. And then they decided to shut down the craft bit. They decided to get rid of it, and they did sell DMC at you know, recommended retail price, so £1.40, which, you know, is quite expensive. It is the recommended retail price, but I think a lot of shops, certainly in the UK, sell it cheaper because they're selling bigger quantities and they tend to have the stock as well, which is better for us. But this craft centre suddenly put all their craft stuff at half price because they wanted to get rid of it all. So I was able to I'm massively stocked up my DMC. As you can see, I've got quite a lot there at 70p a skein. So I would think, oh, I'm going to the gym, so the garden centre's on the way. And I'd think, okay, what projects have I got? What do I need for them? And it'd be on my shopping list. And I kept doing that until it went. Basically, until they took the stand down. You know, I would make quite frequent stops there on the way to the gym and go, what do I need? What have I got? What do I not need? And that shopping list for that was absolutely invaluable. You can also put your projects on there, so you can put a project in, you can say what threads it needs, you can put all the details in about it, you can put when it started, so you can use it as a tracker as well. I tend not to do that. Again, I'm a bit of a paper and pencil girl, and I track everything in my folder that I tick every night after I finish stitching of what I've done that day. You can put your fabric stash in there as well, there's space for that. Haven't done that. It's also got a project calculator, which is absolutely fantastic. You can put in the number of stitches and it'll tell you how much fabric that you need to use. It has a skein estimator. Never use this again. I wonder if this might be really useful if you use Pattern Keeper, because you know how many stitches of each colour there are, so you can put that in and it will tell you how many skeins of something you will need. So I think that'd be really useful. And there's also conversion charts there as well, so from Anchor to DMC and DMC to, you know, they haven't got Weeks Dye Works and Classic Colour Works on there, but there are a few on there that would probably be useful for some of you. So that's just been an invaluable tool for me to use over the last few years, and you know, absolutely fantastic. What about missing threads? Well, I mean, I'll show you. This is where I keep my threads that aren't yet on bobbins. So these could be either something that I've bought from the craft centre when I was buying quite a lot that I haven't yet used. For a project. I can tell you now I have a lot of 732, because every single time I send my mum to our local cross stitch shop, I seem to forget that 731 has been discontinued, and I'll ask for it because I've got a couple of patterns that it's still on. I'll ask mum to get it for me and she'll come back with another 732. So I now have quite a lot of 732. I've got a lot of 310 because when I was doing the Supernatural SAL, it recommended, I think you needed 8 skeins of black, so I bought a box. So I've everything in there that's either a duplicate that I've got more than one of, or I haven't yet had a use for it to put it on a floss drop. So that's a long-term aim, that everything in there that's not a duplicate will be on a floss drop. And then, you know, I've got some needles in here and some sewing thread and some glittery bits, and yeah, some Krynic, some few more bits in there. So that's a useful tray down there. So when I'm then kitting up, I'll obviously know whether I've got a thread or not. And if I haven't got a thread, I go to a website called threadbare.com. I'll put that here so you can just see what it is. Threadbare is absolutely fantastic. You can pop in the colour that you're missing and it will give you some options. So I'll then sit here and I'll think, okay, what are those options? What do they look like with the other threads? Will that work? And just have a look what I've got. Do a floss toss and have a look, and just kind of make up my mind what works and doesn't. And 9 times out of 10, I will find a substitute colour. If I can't find a DMC, I then might just go and have a look through my Roxy floss, but I'll then have an idea, or my Weeks Dye Works, but I'll have an idea of what the colour is and kind of what palette it will work with. Talking about fabric, I mean, sometimes I have a fabric in mind. I keep all of my stash, so I haven't got a massive stash actually of fabric. This is my main lot of fabric. I've got all my 40 count in this side, and I've got all my 36 count here, all nicely folded. I've got lots of fabrics of the month from Kate, but then, you know, I also do have fabric already in projects ready to go at some point. So quite often, you know, I'll have a look at a project, I'll have a look at the cover picture. I quite often go and have a look on Instagram and have a look at what other people are doing. You know, sometimes I'll think, yeah, no, that needs to be on something a bit more muted. And then sometimes I have an idea and think, no, I think that I want to do something different with that. So, for example, The Like by Barbara Anna. So this is what Sarah and I are starting next week. And I'd been watching Jacinta, who is crafting on the plains, and she stitched this, and she used for the fox's coat, she used cinnamon toast. And I thought, oh, I love that. That looks really fantastic. That's a beautiful, beautiful colour. But then I was looking at it a bit more, and I kind of felt that the cover photo was almost, the coat looked almost blue. And I thought, but I like that as well. And then I thought, do you know what? I've actually got the most beautiful purple fabric, which was the this was the September 2023 fabric of the month from Fabrics by Crafty Kate, and I thought, do you know what, I really, really like that. And I really actually think, I think the Cinnamon Toast will look nice, but actually I think a dark blue like Nighty Night will look even better. So, and I think that with maybe the Cinnamon Toast as the stars on the inside will look really wonderful. So I think, you know, I will occasionally decide to go a bit rogue and try and do something a little bit different, and it's just a case of pulling colours together and thinking what is going to work. And I think if you can remember with the Spring Quaker, I actually got a little corner and stitched the different blues in the top of the blue fabric to see what looked best, and made my decision based on that. So, you know, really the kitting up can be what you want it. You know, some people like to do the called for, they like to follow it to the absolute T, but I think, you know, I've really been inspired by a couple of ladies. I've really been inspired by Roz from Roz Clark Crafts with her colour palettes and choosing different things. But also there's a lovely lady called Lainey, who is at Lainey Main on Instagram. And Lainey just picks the most brilliant colours. She stitches a lot of blackbird designs, but she goes a bit wild and picks brighter, beautiful colours. And I think the thing that really inspired me that Lainey stitched was a Heart Remembers, and she stitched it in purples and pinks and aqua blues, and it's just beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. So, you know, really for me, it's become about trying to do something a little bit different as well, and just experiment. And it doesn't always work, but just, yeah, trying to get a little bit more not unusual, but make it a little bit more me, you know, be a little bit creative and try and change it. So the light, although I'm starting this next week, is not yet kitted up, but it's on the way. And again, it might be a little bit of a case of, with this one, it might also be doing it as I go. That'll be the first time I've done that I've not had something kitted up and ready to go. But again, there's nothing wrong with that. There's no one set formula, and I think we all do different things. And you know, when we go wrong, does it really matter? Does anyone else really notice? 9 times out of 10, no. Just when you miss eyes on something and you're showing your friend your finished framed project, and she goes, "You haven't stitched the eyes." And you go, "Oh yeah, okay." Anyway, we'll forget about that one. Yeah, so I just, that is how I've been kind of muddling through my kitting up, and you know, no kind of set formula, but trying to be a little bit organised, trying to, you know, I'm not going to go and buy a skein of one colour for each project that it's in. You know, there's no point in having 5 when, you know, I might not even ever in my lifetime use 1. So it's just being, you know, being sensible about making it affordable. Again, you know, I think these are floss drops. These are Christmas floss drops that Hazel's made me from Christmas cards. So, you know, it's not, you don't have to go and buy these things. There's some beautiful ones if you want to buy them and you can afford to, but if not, you can make them yourself. These ones I get from Amazon, you know, maybe £2.99 for a couple of hundred, so they're great, and I like the uniformity of those. And then I like having the other kind of more unusual floss drops and different floss drops in my projects, which then, you know, when I finish the project, any threads that are left on, I can just go and put back on here, or think, you know, sometimes I put them on the end here, and I'll know, yeah, see, I've got 2 here, you know, I've got 2 colours here that have come out of projects that I finished. And you know, if I'm starting to kit something up, I'll just think, oh, have I got, you know, what have I got there that I need to put away? And then I always just do these in pencil on the back of what colour it is, so I can just rub it out and I can use it again. Yeah, so those are Charlie Feathers floss drops too. So just, that's just different ways of doing things to make it easy for yourself, make it affordable, and keep organised, or somewhat organised. I really hope that's been useful for you. I think if you're a new stitcher, I'm hoping there are a few little things in there that might really help. I'm not an expert. If you can think that there's something that you do that might make it even easier for me, let me know. This has been an ever evolving and changing 50 projects, really, and 50 new starts. It really has. But actually, if you do things differently and think I could learn something from you, I'd love to know. I'd love to find out. But I know a few people had said they'd really like to know how I'm doing it, and am I getting stressed about it? And no, I'm not at all. Again, starting the light next week. It's not yet kitted up, but it'll happen. It'll start. There we go. It's all fun. It's a wonderful, enjoyable hobby, and going to leave it there for today. I think I've talked to you enough. It's been wonderful to spend time with you. I'm really feeling now, I think when I started I was feeling a bit tired and a bit I'm exhausted, I've had a hard week, but actually after speaking to you for nearly an hour I feel really invigorated, and I'm hoping I got a little bit of time that I can go and perhaps do a bit of stitching before my mum gets here to take me out for lunch. That would be wonderful. So thank you for joining me. Would love to have your feedback on how you kit up and any tips and hints you've got for me. Love to hear how you're getting on with your stitching. If you're joining Sarah and I with our Fun for 50 SAL, would love to hear how you're getting on and what you've been stitching with us. And if you don't already subscribe, I would love it if you would just go and give me a little push that subscribe button. Just helps me know that what I'm saying, what I'm talking about, what I'm showing is something that you want to hear and enjoy. So thanks for joining me. So what are we on now? We're nearing the end of June. This should have been a more middle of June video, but I probably will come and join you again just probably into the start of July, so that I can give you an update on June, and you'll see the light then. You'll see how I've got on with the light and what colours I chose and what I went with in the end. So I hope you can look forward to that. Anyway, see you soon. Take care, everybody. Happy stitching and enjoy a bit of sunshine. Bye bye.